So let's look at what strategic plans are essentially made of. It starts with the vision. And the vision is essentially the big focal point, the point of focus for any organization. The vision is essentially the dot on the horizon at which you want to move towards. This is the long-term picture of any organization, and as such, it provides the general direction. More than just direction, it's also a source of inspiration and motivation for the entire organization. And as such, it also acts as a guide for all of the organization's decision making. Ultimately, the smaller decisions, whether those are 5-year, yearly, even monthly, weekly, even daily decisions, ultimately, all of these smaller decisions have to add up and contribute to the overall objective and the vision of any organization. The vision ultimately outlines a future that drives the organization forward. Related to the vision is the mission of any organization. The mission defines the purpose of the organization. In short, why it exists. And it defines what it does to achieve its vision. So to make things very specific, for instance, a company that is active in the renewable energy industry that makes innovative solar panel technology, its vision could be that it, in 10 years from now, will be one of the major leaders in the solar panel industry. And the mission then becomes the organization, the business wants to contribute to a sustainable planet, a planet that will still be there for generations to come. That will be its contribution to society. The mission provides a clear path and focus. It doesn't deal with very specific objectives, but it does lay out in very broad terms what needs to be done in order to achieve the vision, in this case, becoming one of the leaders in solar panel technology. And it provides a very clear path to achieve that. Once you have your vision and your mission in place, now it's time to talk about objectives. So objectives break the mission into actionable steps to achieve its vision. And all of the objectives, whether these are 5-year, yearly, monthly, weekly, even daily objectives, they all need to be SMART, which is a very famous acronym which you've probably come across numerous times already, which stands for specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. This is the hallmark of any proper objective because you need to have a proper frame and you need to have a proper scope of the objective. It needs to be measurable so that you can also control it later on. You need to actually be able to do it. In other words, it needs to be actionable. It needs to be realistic. So in this case, a company wouldn't be able to become one of the leaders in solar panel technology within 1 year, but perhaps 10 years could be a realistic objective. And it needs to be time-bound. So in this case, the company set out that they want to achieve that objective within 10 years. That gives you a very specific scope in which you can essentially frame all of these smaller objectives that you work on a yearly, monthly, and weekly basis. And ultimately, you need to ensure cohesion of objectives across the organization. So especially in very large organizations, let's say a multinational, you would have different departments, you would have different expertises, for instance, research and development, marketing, sales, process improvement, etc. It's imperative that all of the objectives within various departments and units are all cohesive. In other words, they all tie together quite neatly in order to achieve the grand objectives of the organization. That is the vision of the organization.